lecturer at the University of the Western Cape, Mahmoud Patel. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Eram, and thank you for the honor and opportunity to share the time with you.
Thank you. So, as you know, the elections are coming, and it's all over the world's headlines. Turkey's elections 2023. So, on May 14, there are presidential and parliamentary elections as well in the same time in Turkey. How do you evaluate the practice of the current Erdogan and AKP government?
Look, principally, the strategy of the AKP, in particular Erdogan, is to try and ensure that he survives this election. It's touted as the one that's tested him the most in 20 years, and he aims to consolidate what he can. He's already had a dismal performance politically. The earthquakes recently has devastated and wrecked the economy further. It's difficult for the opposition as well to mobilize in a context where Erdogan, with his dictatorial practices, phones the courts, justices, and interferes in court processes for the main official opposition political party for the Kurdish people. And in that way, you can see the desperation of a despotic leader, an authoritarian leader who is trying to remain in power by any means necessary. So, whether it's with the other presidential candidates who have now been confirmed on the 1st of April, what is important for us to illustrate or to pay attention to is that they are not interested in the ideas of democracy, equality, freedom, but much more focused on consolidating power by any means necessary, as I mentioned earlier. The economy is in tatters. The Kurdish formations in the political arena are once again the kingmakers. So his reaction to the Kurdish bloc would be either to try and co-opt those who'd be sympathetic to ensure they are in place. So his strategy is the usual that has been over the years, but more focused on survival to get through the May 14 elections and parliamentary elections as well.
The HDP, due to the risk of the being shut down, it enters the elections with Green Left Party now. In this situation, do you think that Turkey 2023 elections will be held in a democratic environment, first of all? And how important is the success of the Green Left Party in their first elections?
It's a relatively young political party with a 13-year history, but its muscle, as one would say, comes from the Kurdish HDP. And that then allows the Green Party to have the legitimacy of a group of people who are striving for equality, democracy, and freedom. Remember, everybody's focus and attention is on the fact that it's how will the fascist Erdogan Bacheli power collapse this hegemonic control on the Turkish state. But the Green Left, together with the HDP as the bulwark of it in terms of its machinery, would challenge the AKP's formation in this particular strategy it has for the 2023 elections. The Kurdish vote is due to the fact that the Kurdish people are the main element of this geography and are the kingmakers once again. And the Green Left will, on the back of the Kurdish populace that is electorally qualified to vote, be successful in its first historic attempt in Turkish politics.
So, in this historic period of time, I would like to also ask, what is your message of support to HDP and the Green Left Party?
Our support must be unanimously with the Green Left Party and the HDP. They stand for democracy, justice, freedom. More importantly, they are the only hope in the structure in Turkey itself for Turkey to be on a path of democracy. Remember, the authoritarianism of the AKP primarily through its leadership and leader, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, is something that needs to be subverted through democratic means. And this vehicle of the Green Left Party and the HDP makes it possible. So all those who are in Turkey should, if they are true and honest and sincere for democracy, equality, and freedom, stand firmly behind the Green Left and the HDP. So forward to that particular formation and wishing it every success in the elections that are coming on 14th May 2023.
Thank you. Also, I would like to ask you, once I find you, it's important for us you to answer that as well. As you know, the Mr. Abdullah Öcalan is under isolation last 25 months now. It's already been 25 years, but last 25 months, nothing has been heard from Mr. Abdullah Öcalan, and the harsh isolation continues. Once the elections are coming as well, still nothing has been heard from him. There is concerns about his health or well-being. So, what is your call? What is your message to Turkish state to break this isolation? And how would you evaluate that? Is it? Do you think it's something strategic done by Turkish state as well to keep silence, Mr. Öcalan?
It's without question that the continued isolation and incarceration of the undisputed leader of the Kurdish people, Mr. Abdullah Öcalan, on the island of Imrali, is directed to break the spirit and will of the Kurdish people. The Kurdish people's leader, incarceration continuously, and especially in the last over 2 years now, his incarceration is in flagrant violation of all international humanitarian law. It goes against the international law that dictates the rights of political prisoners. And if Turkey wants to rightfully take its place amongst the nations of the world as a democratic state, it needs to show its practice of democracy by firstly releasing Mr. Abdullah Öcalan and engaging with him through dialogue and a process that would pave the way for the Kurdish people in Turkey itself. Also, the continued incarceration shows that the Turkish state has no other way of resolving its internal conflicts and can only respond by symbolically further trying to alienate the Kurdish people from its leader. That is the undisputed leader of the Kurdish people. The continued incarceration is a separation and a strategy to break that connection with the leader. But we know that the injustice perpetrated against Mr. Abdullah Öcalan and the Kurdish people cannot continue indefinitely. So we look at the democratic process coming up in the next election, where all political prisoners should be treated in terms of the international norms and practices, and in particular, the Mandela rules should be upheld for Mr. Abdullah Öcalan and all the other political prisoners that are there on the island of Imrali and the rest of Turkey.
Lecturer at the University of the Western Cape, Mahmoud Patel, thanks for joining us and thank you for your valuable comments today.
Thank you very much, Eram. All the best.
Thank you.